I never thought my Tuesday would kick off with a van bursting into flames next to my chicken coop, sending a 6-foot rooster statue soaring like a feathered missile. There I was, barefoot in my boxers, clutching a garden hose in one hand and a charred pancake in the other, watching Jake holler across my lawn, coated in what looked like neon orange dust, screaming like he'd seen a ghost. It was supposed to be safe paint, non-toxic, eco-friendly. That's when I knew the Homeowners Association had lost its damn mind. Let me back up. I never wanted to live in an HOA neighborhood. My wife, Sarah, insisted. They keep things orderly, she said. They care about curb appeal. What she didn't mention was that orderly meant mandatory lawn ornaments, and curb appeal was code for a woman named Linda, the HOA president, who ruled with a clipboard and a superiority complex. Linda was the suburban equivalent of a dictator, deciding everything from fence heights to flower pot colors. Last week, she zeroed in on our Barna rickety, 60-year-old relic from my grandpa, who thought nails were optional and a slight lean was just character. It housed tools, some old family junk, and 6 chickens with names like Feather McGee and Cluck Vader. It was ugly but mine. Linda disagreed. The letter arrived like a court summons, all fancy embossing and no opt-out option. Notice of scheduled enhancement. Exterior painting project, it read. Our barn was selected for revitalization under the HOA's beautification initiative. No asking, just a start time and a warning to clear the area by 8 a.m. At 7:55, I was still brushing my teeth when the painters rolled up in a van that coughed smoke and bad VY Bess. Out stepped Jake, a guy who looked like he lifted tractor tires for fun. Max, twitchy with paint flecks in his hair. And in turn Tim, barely 19, sporting a shirt that said, "Spray hard, love soft." They unloaded barrels labeled only with a tiny Sunshine Eco Paint sticker and got to work without so much as a hello. I wandered over, pancake still in hand. "What's in those barrels?" Jake shrugged. "Paint, probably. Smells like mango and nail polish, though." That was clue 1. Clue 2 came when a chicken got blasted by the sprayer and turned into a shimmering disco ball with legs. Tim tried wiping it off, only to glow under my porch light. I pressed Max about the paint, and he mumbled about green solvents before bragging about his DIY YouTube channel. By 9:17 a.m., with the temperature climbing, something went wrong. Later, we learned the paint's flammable vapors, mixed with a plugged-in heater in the van, caused a pressure spike. In real time, I saw Jake reach for a sandwich. Max yelled, "Stop!" And then boom. The van erupted in orange flames, sending all 3D VY-ing into my azaleas. The blast knocked the barn door off its hinges and turned my lawn into a modern art disaster. Firefighters swarmed in 5 minutes. Linda rolled up in a golf cart 10 minutes later, sun hat perched, heels clicking, clipboard weaponized. "Why wasn't your barn ventilated properly?" she snapped. I gawked. "Your painters brought mystery chemicals and torched my yard." Her reply? "Community pride requires sacrifice." Then the fire marshal, a bald guy with a stare like he'd seen too many arsons, poked through the wreckage. He lifted a melted barrel lid and frowned. "This ain't paint. It's heat-sensitive, chemically reactive, maybe military grade." Everyone froze. Linda's jaw locked. I muttered, "Military paint?" He nodded. "We're testing the soil." It should have ended there. Freak accident. A wild story about an HOA gone nuts. But as the smoke cleared, I spotted one barrel, untouched, behind the coop. Its label read, "Property of U.S. Experimental DVY Shown. Do not use without clearance." This wasn't just a bad paint job. It was something bigger. Tim, texting furiously, whispered, "I messed up. Got this paint from a guy behind a sandwich shop." And just like that, the barn fire became the least explosive thing that week. The next day, my yard smelled like burnt candy and secrets. I was scrubbing scorch marks off my fence when an HOA newsletter hit my inbox. Temporary setback, bang, community growth. No apology, just a pastel PDF with a cartoon paintbrush and Linda's spin about pressing forward with pride. Sarah, ever the peacemaker, said, maybe Linda didn't know the paint was flammable. I wanted to believe her until I clicked a footer link titled Phase 2, Rustic Re-VY Val. It was a plan for every backyard on our street. Pergolas, murals, historical rebranding zones. Our barn wasn't a one-off. It was ground zero for Linda's VY shown of a magazine-perfect neighborhood, built without consent. Worse, Phase 2 had a deadline, and Linda had more of that sketchy paint. Then Tim vanished. The kid who admitted to buying the barrels was gone, phone dead, apartment empty. Jake said he'd bolted, muttering about liability and formula drift. When I pushed, Jake said, Tim asked too many questions. Said the paint was a prototype. Said Linda knew more than she let on. Then he popped open a soda and shut up. Things got weirder. My mailbox was ripped off its post. The word comply spray painted across my driveway in neon green, matching the calligraphy on Linda's flyers. That night, I saw her measuring my hedges with a laser level, muttering about VY Sul symmetry, VY-olations. Desperate, I tracked down Max at a gas station, where he was painting a vending machine and ranting about art. 2 energy drinks and some candy later, he spilled. Linda never wanted receipts for the paint. The barrels came from a military disposal auction, labeled declassified but clearly not. They hissed when you opened them, Max said. One even wiggled. Tim found a link to something called Project Sunbloom. It ain't about flowers. I pressed, but he clammed up. By Friday, the HOA called an emergency meeting. I went armed with photos of the fire, printouts of Phase 2, and a knot in my gut. Linda stood at a podium, smiling like a TV preacher, unveiling renderings of color-coordinated homes and barn murals with slogans like Unity in Hue. No chickens allowed. I stood. You sprayed military chemicals on my barn without permission. Your van exploded. Tim's missing. What's going on? She didn't blink. We're enhancing property values. Setbacks are being addressed. Tim's on leave. Others chimed in about glowing dogs. The fire report, but Linda brushed them off with community VY Shown takes patience. After, I cornered her in the parking lot. You knew about the barrels, didn't you? That was rejected military waste. She turned, eyes cold. Progress is messy. This neighborhood was dying beige fences, rusty swings. We needed a spark. You pro-VY dead one. She smirked. Literally, that night, a burner phone appeared in my mailbox. No note, just 3 texts and a VY Deo. The texts read, they lied about the contents. Phase 3 isn't cosmetic. Linda has clearance codes. The VY Deo showed Linda on a call with the director Peterson, discussing shipment timelines and neighborhood field tests. The paint was no mistake, it was an experimental rollout. Maybe military, maybe corporate. Our neighborhood was the lab, my barn the guinea pig. I couldn't sleep. The fire marshal's words echoed. Classified material. Tim was in hiding. Max was painting traffic cones. Jake was eating string cheese. Linda was planning Phase 3. I knew I had a fight not with emails, but a war against her clipboard army. One barrel, the one I'd hidden, vanished from my yard. No tracks, just discolored dirt. Only a few knew it existed. Jake, Max, and Linda's crew. Jake wasn't sneaky enough. Max was too busy with his flamingo cone revolution. That left Linda. I needed proof. Linda kept HOA records locked, tight, digitally password protected, physically in her basement with 17 cats and a parrot that mimicked her voice. I recruited Jake, bribing him with protein bars and a chance to drive my mower. At midnight, we met behind Linda's house in hoodies and ski masks, like suburban ninjas with a midlife crisis. Jake neutralized the parrot. I broke in. The basement was a shrine to control, files sorted by house number, VY-olation type, even enhancement priority. My file labeled me high resistance, possible threat. A section on barn protocol mentioned Project Sunbloom, a purchase order for aerosol agent SB from Reservoir 9, and a memo. Prepare community for Phase 3 once chemical efficacy confirmed. Subjects must remain unaware. Jake's walkie-talkie crackled. She's up. Parrot's freaking. I grabbed files, a flash drive, and a flamingo stapler, dodging a cat attack as we fled. The files detailed aesthetic conversion protocol and controlled habitat for observation. This wasn't beautification, it was control. I traced Reservoir 9 to a warehouse past the rail yard, behind a buzzing fence. Jake brought his drone, Bucky, which filmed crates of barrels marked SB, some leaking, some in foreign script. We had enough to prove the HOA used unstable chemicals on private property without consent. We planned to go public at the Block Bloom Festival, a cheery event with balloons and dog costumes. Linda would unveil Phase 3. We'd unveil her lies. Jake printed flyers with Sunbloom excerpts. Tim, back from hiding, embedded VY Deo QR codes. Max promised a fiery art piece. At the festival, Linda preached conformity is kindness from a glittery podium. We slipped flyers into goodie bags and porta potties. Whispers spread. A mom saw the Peterson VY Deo and nearly dropped her burger. A guy asked if his dog was brainwashed. Linda's smile faltered. Then Max, in a rainbow hazmat suit, threw glitter and screamed, "The barn speaks." His dance part swan, part angry hen drew every eye. Tim hacked the HOA system, sending an alert to every phone. Fire footage, Phase 3 memos, a spreadsheet ranking compliance potentials, and a bold message. They're not making it prettier. They're making it easier to control. Silence gripped the crowd. Linda claimed the EVY Denke was fake, but a lemonade hit her podium, and her parrot squawked, "You're fired." The bouncy house collapsed. By dusk, the barn brigade gathered in my yard. Linda wasn't gone, but her spell was broken. 2 days later, silence hung heavy, not peace, but the quiet after a bomb. Linda's house was dark, her parrot still screeching bylaws. Phase 3 was delayed, not dead per Tim's hacked files. Then 3 unmarked vans arrived, unloading mood stabilization sensors on light poles. Tim went pale. It's the paint in tech form tracking stress, posture, tweaking frequencies to make you compliant. We met in my garage, surrounded by conspiracy post-its. Tim found the HOA app, now predicted BHA VY, or flagging low scores for correction. The system was run by Precision Habitat Dynamics, a shady firm with government ties. Our plan was reckless. Break into a restoration van, hijack the uplink, and send a final alert to crash the network. At 2:14 a.m., in pouring rain, we struck. Tim hacked. Jake muscled the door. Max brought unexplained fireworks. Inside, screens glowed with cables and a terminal. Tim said, 12 minutes before the firewall catches us. A light pole hummed, its LED red. Then we heard golf cart tires. Linda, in a soaked nightgown, clipboard raised, led 2 board members and 3 armed men. "You can't stop progress," she yelled. I stepped out. "Order isn't surveillance, Linda. It's trust. You burned that with my barn." Jake hit a button labeled "Do Not Press." The van shook. Every phone buzzed with Tim's alert. "This neighborhood is under unauthorized BHA VY oral testing. Project Sunbloom is real. Reclaim your homes." Sensors sparked, the network crashed, and Linda's clipboard hit a tree, shattering. We fled as sirens wailed. By morning, the vans were gone. Linda's house taped off, her parrot loose. The HOA imploded, board members quit, bylaws voided. Neighbors repainted garages with pirate cats, dragged out gnomes. The barn was rebuilt with Linda's wood, a chicken mural proclaiming no glossy tyranny. A new council formed, led first by 8-year-old Mia, who banned boring mailboxes. Linda blogged from jail, blaming Big Mulch. Tim started a de-optimization firm. Jake opened a gym. I organized cookouts, grew a pumpkin called Justice. A suit offered $1 million for the last barrel. I gave him a taco coupon. Thursdays became Taco Unity night, no clipboards, just stories and salsa. Sometimes I hear Linda's parrot screech comply in the distance, but I smile. The fire we lit still burns. So what do you think? Was Linda a pawn in a bigger game, or the mastermind? Should we have taken $1 million? Are HOAs ever worth it? Or are they all one spark from disaster? Comment below, hit like, subscribe, and tell Mule you fight the clipboard army or join it.